Peter, he played 19 seasons, and we've talked about the unbelievable career that Yogi Berra had as a player. But he also was a pretty good manager. I mean, 7 years, and he also managed both the Yankees and the Mets. Only a person to ever only former player to manage both the Yankees and the Mets.
I was with him when he got fired, or the day after, and in 1985. And it really bothered him terribly that he never really got the respect as a manager that he should have gotten. I mean, in 1964, the Yankees won 99 games. They went to the 7th game against the Cardinals in the World Series. And the Yankees didn't understand, as David Halberstam wrote in the great book 1964, that the Yankee era was over. They were behind the times. Yogi was sacrificed for that. He did an incredible job with it. The 1973 Mets were not very good. I mean, 82 wins, 79 losses. And yet they beat the Big Red Machine in a great, great series. They lost to the A's, who won 3 consecutive World Series, in a great 7-game series. The only reason was really because the two matchups, Catfish Hunter and Tom Seaver, the Hall of Famers, the A's ended up winning both of those games, so they lost there. Then he went back, and in 1984, the Yankees won 87 games. Well, you know what? The Tigers started 35-5. The Yankees weren't very good. And they've still won 87 games and finished 30. Did a very good job with that team. And the next year, they're 6-10. He's out. Well, guess what? They had no chance of being as good as the Toronto Blue Jays that year. And he really, I mean, he prided himself as a manager the way he was as a player. He was always reliable, which meant when he played, he led the American League in games caught 8 consecutive seasons. He was a tremendously unselfish person. Unselfish manager. It was never about him. And, most pitchers that you talk to, many of whom he used to carve balls up on his shin guards as he threw them back to the mound so they could have all sorts of funny things happen to them. But he would do that, and he understood so much about hitting. It wasn't only that, okay, he swung at bad ball. He had such great hand-eye coordination and such understanding of what other pitchers tried to do. The amazing thing, 19 years, he averaged 22 strikeouts a year. He played in 75 World Series games, struck out 17 times.
Wow.
He knew hitting so well. And I do believe, I think it's fair that you could say if you span all different generations, all different demographics, he might be the most recognizable athletic figure, at least since Babe Ruth. I mean, and the thing was, he was so genuine. It was never anything fake. I remember the weekend that I was lucky enough to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, him talking to like 30 of my friends and families for like half an hour, 40 minutes, telling jokes, taking pictures, and that he was never a brand. I mean, I love Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan's a brand. He was never a guy that had a PR person send Instagram photos to the celebrity section of the morning newspapers. He was just Yogi Berra, real person.
How much bigger would his persona be if he played in today's game as opposed to when he played because of that infectious personality?
Oh, I think it would be much bigger. I think in this era of so much coverage on television, on so much social media, because he was so honest and so approachable, I think that it would have made him so likable in so many ways. I mean, there are a lot of great players right now that are phenomenal people, but they don't say the things that Yogi said. And it was all delightful. And I love the beginning of his Cooperstown speech. I mean, it was so typical of his humility as well as his humor.
All right, Peter, I could talk to you all day about Yogi Berra. The great Peter Gammons joining us on MLB Central. Peter, thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot, Fran.
All right, number 8, of course, that number is retired in Monument Park. Great plaque there for Lawrence Peter Yogi Berra. And Yogi, of course, known for so many great Yogiisms, and probably the most famous one, it ain't over until it's over. The great Yogi Berra gone at the age of 90.